Most unhealthy relationships have one thing in common: red flags that people ignore. Not because you're blind, but because love is confusing, and we're often good at making excuses seem reasonable. Today, we're showing you 5 red flags you're probably already seeing but maybe not recognizing as warnings. Here's the thing. When you love someone, you want to believe they're good. Sometimes they are. But sometimes what looks like rough patches is actually a pattern that won't change. These red flags aren't about one mistake. They're about repeated behaviors that make you feel small, unsafe, or undervalued. Red flag 1. Your partner gets anxious when you're away, texts constantly when you're with friends, says they just worry about you or miss you. It doesn't feel like control, it feels like they care. But what's happening is they're making your independence feel like a problem they need to manage. Healthy partners celebrate your independence. If you're constantly thinking about their feelings while you're away, that's a pattern worth noticing. The moment you start asking their permission, not out of rule but to avoid their disappointment, you've given them power over your choices. Red flag 2. When you bring up something that bothered you, they reframe what happened. You remember a conversation going one way. They say, "That's not what I meant," or "You're reading too much into this." Suddenly you're questioning whether you understood correctly. It's not denial, it's repositioning. And over time, you stop trusting your own interpretation of events. You assume you got it wrong. In a healthy relationship, when you feel misunderstood, your partner listens and you get to clarify. They don't make you second-guess what you experienced. Red flag 3. They only shift behavior when you're about to leave. Things are bad. You're at your breaking point. You say, "This can't continue." Suddenly, they transform. They're attentive. They change. They try. But once you relax and trust again, the old patterns come back. The change was never about growth. It was about keeping you from leaving. Real change happens gradually, not in crisis mode. When someone only changes to prevent losing you, that's not transformation. That's manipulation. Red flag 4. They hear you. They just don't respond to what you're saying. You bring up something that bothered you. They say, "Okay, I hear you," or "Sorry about that," and then nothing changes. Your feelings get validated, but your concerns get ignored. It feels better than dismissal, so you think that's enough. But a partner who values you takes your concerns seriously. They actually act on them. If they hear you but nothing ever shifts, you're being acknowledged. You're just not being prioritized. Red flag 5. When something goes wrong, there's always a reason why it wasn't their fault. I reacted that way because you brought it up. If you hadn't done that, I wouldn't have. You become the person managing their emotional responses instead of them managing their own. You find yourself tiptoeing around them. Preventing their upset becomes your responsibility. That's a lot of emotional labor to carry alone. That's not balance. That's you doing the work for both of you. Here's what matters. One red flag doesn't necessarily end a relationship. People slip up. But if it's a pattern, multiple red flags consistently, that's when you need to be honest with yourself about whether this relationship is actually good for you, because you deserve respect. You deserve someone who listens to you, respects your boundaries, takes responsibility for their behavior. That's not too much to ask for. That's just love. If this video resonated, it means you needed to hear it. Trust that feeling. And remember, recognizing these patterns isn't weakness. It's wisdom. If you found this helpful, subscribe for more relationship guidance. Thanks for watching.